everyone, I'm Jonathan Shaw, founder of Decoding Pain, and in this video I want to share with you the #1 cause of chronic pain. Now, if you've seen my other videos, the second and third cause, you know that I talked about how lack of flexibility and poor posture, but not so much standing upright, but more movement, the way we move our bodies, are actually the second and third cause of pain. But today I'm going to reveal the first cause of pain, the #1 cause of pain, the numero uno, the granddaddy of them all. In fact, this precedes the other two. This comes before the other two. And what I'm about to reveal to you, for some of you, you may be very, very skeptical. For others, it may seem very familiar, like you've heard similar before. And for other people, you may just be really open and go, oh my God, that makes so much sense. But wherever you are, just stick with me, because in my 20 years experience, this has been the #1 cause of pain in 90% of my clients. And by solving this, by finding this root cause and reversing this, the pain goes away much easier, much quicker. And it's the way I solve lots of other problems, not just pain, but autoimmune problems, depression, anxiety. It's the way I solve a lot of different problems. So the #1 cause of chronic pain is a biological shock. Now, what do I mean by a biological shock? Now, a lot of times these days, it's really early, I can't speak. A lot of times these days, we talk about stress and we talk about emotions and how emotions affect our day. I'm not talking about that type of stress. I'm talking about a biological stress. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is that it was discovered about 40 years ago by a doctor that our organs in our body, so our muscles, our liver, our spleen, our stomach, every part of us actually react biologically to something that's happened around us. And that is what we call a shock or a trigger. So typical examples of shocks or triggers would be being fired from work, would be a death in the family. It can be even something as simple as someone criticizing you, or something as small as someone not listening to you. These can all be triggers and shocks, and our organs then react in certain ways. Now, we're talking about muscle and we're talking about chronic pain, and the way our muscles react is with a self-worth issue. So all biological shocks that create muscle problems are about our self-worth. They're about our value for ourselves. And each body part means something different. Each area means something different. For instance, the neck is about injustice. So if you're suffering neck pain, then you're feeling injustice in your life. If you're suffering shoulder pain, depending on where it is in the shoulder, if it's the back, it's like you're being stabbed in the back. If it's on top, it's burdening you, weighing you down. If it's in the front, you might be protecting yourself because of the rib cage. It might be a protection thing. But each part of you means something different. But ultimately, it's affecting your self-worth. And all I have to do is find those triggers that are triggering your self-worth in that area. And I use my DTO system to switch off the triggers so that you no longer feel that way. You no longer feel undervalued. You no longer feel no good anymore, or like you're not worthy. And so your value goes up for yourself. You feel happier, you feel more positive, but also your pain goes away. Your pain goes down, it lessens and lessens gradually over time until your body part or your body is feeling healthier and well. So the real key is the biological shock or trigger or triggers. There's normally more than one trigger that triggers this response. But by finding those triggers and using my DTO system to switch them off, you can actually get rid of pain very, very quickly. I'll give you an example from a client that I'm treating at the moment who has pancreatitis, which is an inflammation of the pancreas, and he came to me suffering in immense pain, really, really severe pain with it, and after medical profession, couldn't solve it, and it's not working what they're doing, the injection he's having only last a couple of days, and within 4 sessions, 4 weeks, his pain was greatly reduced by about 50%. And he can now sit upright, whereas before he had to lean forwards all the time. He can now actually sit upright and be comfortable and move around much easier, and his pain is greatly reduced just by finding these biological triggers and switching them off. Now, when he came to me, he didn't totally believe what I was saying. He was just open to try it because nothing else was working and he was in severe pain. So you don't have to believe totally what I'm saying. You just need to be open to working with me and trying it to actually release that stress from your body and switch it off and see the result you get of the pain going down. So again, the number one cause of chronic pain is a biological shock or a biological trigger that happens in your environment around you. And it can be really anything, but your muscles, your bones and ligaments, they respond to self-worth. So if you are having pain right now, it is because there is a self-worth issue running in your life, and it happens in everyone's lives. I don't know a single person these days that does not have a self-worth issue somewhere in their lives. It's very rare to find that, but in this case it's actually causing you pain. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, doesn't mean there's that you're not normal or anything like that. It just means you're going through something, because as we grow and as we mature as human beings, and we get older, we go through different conflicts in our life. We go through different experiences, and those experiences are what create these shocks and these traumas sometimes in our system, and they get lodged and stuck in our cells, and we can't release it. We don't know how to release it. And my DTO system shows you exactly how to release that, so you can just feel happy and feel good about yourself, and also your body feels healthy and well also. I'll give you one more example. In fact, I'll give you an example of me with my shoulder. I often talk about my shoulder pain that I had in my early mid-20s. It was chronic, and it'd been there for about a year and a half, and it started in my back, but it had expanded, it had sort of shrunk to my shoulder, but it wasn't moving from the shoulder, and all the physical work I was doing just wasn't cutting it. And so when I first learnt about this biological shock thing, I was fascinated, because I always knew stress was a problem, but this really explained how and why stress was a problem from a scientific explanation and from a more specific theory of what was going on, and explained the whole process very clearly, which made it very easy for me to find the shock that was affecting my shoulder. And when I did find the shock that was affecting it, I switched it off, and I used a different system then. I didn't have my DTO system then, but when I switched off the emotions and the thoughts about that shock, what happened was the pain just went away, and it went away in about 20 minutes, which after a year and a half of pain was miraculous for me. I mean, that was like a miracle happening. So pain can go very, very quickly when you know what to do and you know what to look for. Now, I want to say that the shock that we're looking for, we're not looking for the emotional response. There's a lot of people out there who talk about emotions affecting the system, but the biological shock is the most important part, because we could go through the same kind of shock. So you and me could be sitting in the same room, and we could go through the same shock. A car could burst through the room and narrowly miss us by this much. We're okay, we're safe. But the way we react could be different. So our emotional response could be different, but the shock was the same. The shock was a car bursting through the room. But our emotions could be different. I could respond through fear, and you might respond with, oh my God, life is amazing, I'm alive. So the emotional response is very different in people. It's the biological shock you need to find first. Once you find the biological shock or the triggers, then you can say, well, what are you feeling about that? And you can switch off the emotional responses. But the emotions are really the secondary thing that you need to find. It's the shock you need to find first, or the triggers you need to find first. So remember, the biological shock is the number one cause of chronic pain, and I see it in almost all the clients that I come across. And if the client is open to letting me fix that with them and solve that, I can solve their pain far quicker, far easier, and get them back to living their lives again in a much quicker time than they ever thought possible. I hope you've enjoyed this video. There is a lot more to the biological shock than just that, but in this video I just want to cover what the number one cause of pain is. I will go into more detail about biological shock in other videos so that you really understand it and you really understand what's going on. But for now, let that sink in, let that settle. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me, jonathan@decodingpain.com. And if you want to talk to me more about it, if you're in the UK, you can give me a call, or we can set up a Skype session if you're abroad, and we can chat more about your problem and see how we can help you become pain-free. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, keep smiling, and I look forward to seeing you on another video.